This is the Fantasy Roadshow.
What's going on? Welcome into another episode of the Fantasy Roadshow. We are your hosts. My name is Kulz. Nope. My name is Truck. His name is Kulz. You can find me at fantasy_trucker on Twitter. You can find him at Kulz_sports. Follow the show at Fantasy Roadshow. Check out the Substack, thefantasyroadshow.substack.com. And it honors me to say for the first time, this episode is brought to you by Rule 1 Proteins. It is our new sponsor. Make sure you put in Roadies40 at checkout to get 40% off. Rule 1 Proteins.
Let's go.
Kulz, how you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I am out in Cincinnati. I'm in the Natty all week. And Kulz, I got a surprise for you.
Oh shit! He got that skyline, dog.
Got a little skyline.
Oh,
It's skyline.
Oh,
So, originally, Kulz and I, if you've been following the show for a very, very, very long time, Kulz and I were in Cincinnati and we went and tried Skyline Chili. And needless to say, it was one of the worst things I've ever eaten. The chili dog, it's like they're a Coney dog special. Awful, terrible. I thought it was horrendous. It's hard to impress a Chicago guy with the hot dog. So, however, when I told Kulz that I was back in Cincinnati, he told me, he's like, dude, you gotta go get Skyline one more time. You gotta give it one more chance.
can't believe you did it.
This is the spaghetti. It's called the three-way. The regular three-way or the three-way special. I don't know. It's just a spaghetti noodles with chili and cheese.
It's not. It's the three-way.
Yeah, it's the three-way, and I'm gonna try it right now. And this is my first time trying it live on the pod. I'm a little nervous here.
I can't believe you did it.
Just as I was suspecting, it's not horrible. So the chili is not good. It's the cheese that makes it good. It's noodles and cheese. You can't go wrong with noodles and cheese with a little bit of chili in there. Now, I did get the kids portion because this is really small and I don't want to eat a giant portion of this, but not bad. Better than the hot dog for sure, I will say. But yeah, not bad.
Wow, I can't believe you won. I genuinely thought you would never go again.
You know what? It took a lot for me to do that because Skyline was not good the first time I tried it, but I felt like I needed to give it a better chance. So just wanted to start the pod off with that. But I'm glad you guys are joining us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We appreciate you guys. We are live on YouTube right now at youtube.com/sportsethos. Pod version will come out later on. And we're here talking fantasy Hitch Hikers week 6. Kulz. I know last week the waiver wire was kind of dry last week.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid it's fairly dry again this week. However, there are some standouts that we need to talk about.
Well, the other week when it was dry, it was with McLaughlin was on the waiver wire, and he seems to be a legitimate piece.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what's going to happen this week. I know Javonte Williams is trending to play this week, so we'll see. I'm sure McLaughlin, in my opinion, he's played well enough to earn somewhat of a role in this offense, and he seems like a firecracker. So
yeah,
we'll see how that plays out.
From my understanding, I didn't really watch him specifically. I should probably go back and see some highlights, but supposedly he looked really good and is going to have a kind of a role. He looks different, more explosive, better runner. So we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do want to start off the episodes with kind of an injury update. I know midweek, what's going on with the injuries, because that has a lot to do with the waivers. Obviously, there's some really big ones. Justin Jefferson, he's on IR. He's going to be out for at least 4 weeks dealing with a hamstring injury. And that's going to bring us to one of our main priorities, one of our top pickups. And I'm sure you'll hear this everywhere. But, KJ Osborne is stepping into a role with Jordan Addison, probably going to be the main beneficiary. But last week we saw KJ Osborne get almost 9 targets. He's going to be heavily utilized in this offense. And they're playing the Chicago Bears this week. So Kulz, how do you think about KJ Osborne this week as a waiver wire pickup?
I'm not really crazy about him, to be honest. I just don't think he's that good. I mean, you saw like Kirk Cousins threw him a touchdown pass and he just like wasn't ready for it. So I just don't really think he's a good wide receiver. Like, I think what we've seen him be, almost like Van Jefferson, like what we've seen him be, that's what he is. And then if you ask him to do more, he's just not good enough to do more. So
yeah,
that's what I think about him. I mean, he can run deep routes and catch balls in stride, but he's not going to be able. He's not your guy that runs perfect routes or, has that feel for the field where he can get open and Kirk will trust he'll be there. Like, he's just not that good.
Yeah. So I mean, this week it'll be interesting to see how this plays out without Justin Jefferson.
There's targets there for Jefferson, but for him, it's just capped out. Like, even last week, I was trying to find him. If he did have, let's see if I can find him. If he did have 9 targets, here we go. He had 9 targets, 5 catches, 49 yards. Like, to me, he's not like a 10 catch, 100-yard receiver. He's just not. First 2 games of the season, 6 targets, 3 catches, 31, 34 yards. I just don't think he's like, the reason why Jefferson gets so many catches is because he's
that good.
Yeah, separation. He feels when the ball is near him. Like, Osborne doesn't have any of that. So, I think Addison will be the one to have huge games. Osborne will get an uptick in his production just because you're missing 12 plus catches, 150 yards and a touchdown. But I just don't think he's good enough.
Yeah, fair enough.
I would still pick him up he's going to be a legitimate flex option this week against the Bears, most likely. Next week against 49ers, like, I'm probably not starting him then.
Yeah.
At Green Bay, maybe. At Falcons, maybe. So, I mean.
Yeah, he's to me, he's got a high floor, low ceiling. And if you need 9 points, not a bad option. So, but yeah, if you have the room for him, go ahead. But realistically, we'll see TJ Hawkinson and Jordan Addison benefit from this. Another injury, Khalil Herbert, dealing with an ankle injury. He's going to be sidelined for a couple weeks. They're expecting probably like a week 9 return, possibly. And I know a lot of people are targeting Roschon Johnson and Deontay Foreman. Now, I just saw something come through that the Bears signed Darrington Evans from the Miami Dolphins practice squad as a running back. So to me, I'm thinking that Roschon Johnson hasn't progressed or isn't progressing with this concussion protocol. And I'm a little nervous about him playing. So I don't know if I would be picking him up this week in waivers. I just, until we hear more information about him progressing.
I mean, definitely pick him up. Herbert's going to be gone for 3 weeks. When's the Bears bye?
I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, Deontay Foreman should be the big guy for this week.
Yeah, but Roschon, let's see, Minnesota, Las Vegas, Chargers, New Orleans, that's a tough matchup. Carolina. So, if he's gone if Herbert's out for 3 weeks, which it'll probably be more than that, honestly, he has Vikings, Raiders, Chargers. Like, that those are 3 cupcake running defenses. I mean, I don't know that says that doesn't for sure say he's not progressing and he's not going to play. For me, that says like maybe Lil Herbert is going to be out a little bit longer. Like, I could see him being out for 4 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks. So I don't know. I think I would pick him up 100%. Like he would
Okay.
be probably my number one pickup of the week.
I know. Well, each week we've been doing this. I feel like Roshan Johnson is just every week.
Is he
he's
still on there? Like
he's rostered in only 51% of leagues on Sleeper, and where's he at? 31% on ESPN. So he's out there.
well, go grab him.
Yeah. Like we're just going to keep reiterating that every week, but hopefully this is the week that changes.
Well, if he's playing, he's going to be, I mean, the lead back in that backfield. So
yeah, which
against the
I've been
Vikings, who
praying
are
for
absolute
this
trash.
entire season. Yeah, I can't wait to see this happen. So now Devon A-Chain, whatever, dealing with a knee injury. Kulz, what's the status update on him? I know you were looking into this more than I was today.
Fucking sucks.
We have A-Chan, and he's unfortunately going to be sidelined a couple weeks. He's not on the IR right now, and hopefully he doesn't go on the IR, but a couple weeks there.
And yeah, in order for him to be on the IR, he wouldn't come back till week 11 because he's got to sit 4 games and they have a bye. So
yeah,
I don't think it was that bad of an injury. So I don't think it's going to be, him missing the next 6 weeks. So I think it'll be like 2 games.
Yeah. Well, that brings me to the next waiver wire pickup to talk about is Jeff Wilson. Rostered in only 22% of leagues in Sleeper. On ESPN, he is at 29%. So he's out there in most leagues. Jeff Wilson. How do you like him? To fill in for Devon. Frank the Dank, what's going on? Welcome to the stream. Appreciate it. Should I trade Lamb for DK? Now, I will preface this. We'll go and answer this question, Fletcher. Thank you for your question. Thank you for chiming in. But
I'm Lamb over DK.
Yeah, I am as well. Yes, I was just going to say all questions will be answered at the end of the episode. We're going to try to stay on topic and get through this waiver system, and then ask away, and we'll answer them all in a segment.
Can you
at the end of the episode?
Can you type that out while I talk about who are we talking about?
Jeff Wilson.
So from what I understand, he should be practicing tomorrow. So it'll be interesting to hear how that goes. I don't know that he's going to step in next week and have a huge role. I think it's going to mostly be Mostert. And then I don't know what the status. I imagine Ahmed is healthy. So I would imagine it's more those two. Get Jeff Wilson some healthy reps in practice this week and a little bit, get him some game time, but you don't want to throw a fantasy worthy load at him and then, see if he can handle it. So I think it'll be kind of like a Jonathan Taylor type thing.
Yeah.
Cause he hasn't played football in a while, So yeah, I wouldn't pick him up expecting him to have a great first game or maybe even 2, and then maybe A-Chain comes back. He's the one that worries me. Will he come back? Will he just get a big role before A-Chain comes back? That's what I'm worried about. So I don't know that I would pick him up thinking he's going to be this stud running back that I can start as much as I'm picking him up, letting him sit on my bench and seeing what his role is in this offense, which I imagine is going to be primarily third and short yardage and goal line. Just because he's bigger than the other two, more durable.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
The one
that was injured.
Yeah. How about that, huh?
But I mean, those are 3 guys that get injured. So
yes,
having a piece of a high scoring offense that, has injury prone running backs, you're going to want, even if you get a few weeks out of a guy and as a starter, as you've seen, they've been putting up 20-point games like it's nothing. So
yeah,
I'm ready for our best ball shares to start paying off for us.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Anthony Richardson dealing with a shoulder injury. He's seeking a second opinion. this shoulder injury could sideline him for like 3 to 4 weeks. We don't really know. We need more clarity. We need more clarity. But for everybody that's in a super flex league, if Gardner Minshew is out there, definitely grab him if you're needing some improvements at quarterback. I think he plays pretty well. I don't know about his what his schedule is coming up the next couple of weeks, but I would imagine I'd feel comfortable starting him against decent matchups. I don't know. How do you feel about Gardner? The Minshew mania.
Well, I think just for starters, I think that here he is. For starters, I think that Anthony Richardson's going to be gone for over a month.
Yeah.
So they have at Jacksonville, home against the Browns, home against the Saints, and then at Carolina, at New England.
Yeah,
and they're on a week 11 bye, and then week 12 they're in. So I honestly think he'll be back maybe on week 12 after their bye. After their bye, if he's healthy. But yeah, I mean, at Jacksonville that shouldn't be tough. But then you get the Browns and New Orleans; those are two really good defenses.
Yeah.
Luckily you're at home, but yeah, I don't know. That'll be
that's fair.
A test for this team. They could easily go 0-3 and then they're out of the playoff picture. So we'll see what happens. They need I would think they go 1-2.
Yeah, I think so. I think it'll be really hard for them to beat Cleveland and the Saints. You know, that defense has been playing really well. So
Cleveland's noteworthy. I don't know what the fuck is going on with Deshaun Watson.
He didn't practice again today.
Well, that doesn't make any.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on there.
It's not just like an injury in my mind.
I had some analysis here on him. Yeah, they say he's day to day. Did not practice on Monday. Yeah, the Browns were on a bye after week 5. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on there, but it doesn't look good.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah. All right, James Conner. James Conner got injured this last week, knee injury. He's on the IR as well, out 4 to 5 weeks. And a hot name is let me see if I Amari DiMercado. Amari DiMercado. Rostered in only 2% of leagues. He's out there basically everywhere. Do you have any interest in picking up a Cardinals running back that isn't James Conner?
Yeah, so I don't even know who. I really don't know who this guy is. I just had to look him up. And apparently he's 24 and played at TCU. So, I mean, if I don't know who someone is, that's an issue typically. So if I don't know someone, I typically don't go there. Just because, I mean, I watch a lot of college football and football in general. And just know who's being drafted. So I'm assuming he's an undrafted 24-year-old rookie out of TCU. So that kind of explains things. I mean, Kendre Miller was there last year. They had another running back who was not named Amari DiMercado. So he must have been third string running back for TCU last year. But anyways,
scored a touchdown last week in the absence. People are going to be looking for information on whether or not they should pick him up. You know.
Yeah. Again, I'm just telling you my thought process. Like I could swing and miss on him, and he could be good, but I'm typically not picking someone up if I don't know who he is. It's not a good sign. And then I know who, like Keontae Ingram, who's backed up James Conner for the last 2 years. It's my understanding he'll be back next week. So, if you need a 1 week rental with someone who's going to have opportunity, go ahead and get Amari, but I wouldn't expect him to be on the field. I mean, they play the Rams next week. Yeah. And then it's at Seattle, Baltimore, Cleveland, Atlanta. So those are a tough 4-game stretch. I imagine that Connor will be gone for the next 4 games. And then when the Cardinals are 1-7,
Yeah.
1-8, then it's going to be like, all right, are we bringing back Kyler and James Conner to a team that's 1-8? Probably have traded Hollywood Brown by that point. So I don't know. I just.
Yeah, that's fair.
Also, should I sell high on Tony Pollard? Oh, wait, I forgot we're doing this at the end. I saw some videos saying he was a good buy low, but do you think I should trade him? I wouldn't trade Tony Pollard. I think Tony Pollard's going to have an outstanding rest of his year. I think he's a top 5 for sure running back.
I was
right
literally
now.
just going to say that. Yeah, top 5 running back rest of the season.
Yeah, maybe top 3 even.
Possibility. Thank you, Fletcher. All right, so
Fletcher Cox, do you play for the Eagles? If so, can you come on the podcast? Please.
Oh, that's funny. You're funny. All right, where was I at here? Tank Dell is in the concussion protocol. Tank Dell, they're going to see how he progresses throughout the week. There's a chance he doesn't play. The other wide receiver that really hasn't been talked about on that team, Bobby Woods. Yeah, Robert Woods, man. Do you think there's any value there if Tank Dell doesn't play?
I mean, this is another one that it's like, I just don't have. If I have room for Bobby Woods on my team, then I am struggling. And fortunately, I'm not in that position at all.
Okay. Yes, that's right. That's fair.
So,
9 targets.
I say no. What do you
9
think?
targets last week, 3 receptions for 30 yards.
Yeah, like that's not good.
No, it's not good. But you know who has been good is CJ Stroud. So, thought it would be interesting to bring up. I know people are going to be considering picking him up in the absence of Tank Dell.
Well, good luck.
You're going to need it. Injury concern here, Kulz, and I thought you might be interested in this. Dalton Kincaid is in the concussion protocol, and Dawson Knox is dealing with a wrist injury. So there's a chance, Kulz, Dawson Knox doesn't play, and Dalton Kincaid does play.
I mean, hopefully his breakout comes soon.
Yeah, I know that doesn't have much to do with waivers. I saw that and I was like, oh, Kulz would be very, very happy if that was the case.
What if it was like Pollard for AJ Brown and David Montgomery? Then I say you totally do that, but that's such an aggressive trade.
Yeah, AJ Brown and David Montgomery, I would take them over Tony Pollard.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be dominating, I think, but
yeah, I like David Montgomery for the rest of the season.
But you never answered, are you on the Eagles, Fletcher Cox?
Are you that guy? All right, go ahead.
Nothing. I'm waiting for Dalton Kincaid to break out.
Yeah. So I think that's all the notable injuries that have been going on. So we'll keep an ear to that and find out more information as the week progresses. Stay tuned. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. We'll tweet out some updates. All right. So
make sure you go on rule1proteins.com and check out the website. Promo code RODIES40.
Yes, absolutely. There's a couple other running backs that need to be talked about, I think. Justice Hill is rostered in 33% of leagues. Kendre Miller is rostered in 20% of leagues. Tyjae Spears rostered in 36% of leagues. And that pretty much does it. I know Jaleel McLaughlin, I know we mentioned him earlier. If he's still available on your waiver wire, take a chance. And if you have the room to stash him to see what that role develops into. But Kendre Miller, Justice Hill, and Tyjae Spears, Kulz, what do you think about those three?
Trying to find the injury thing that I sent you earlier. Kendre Miller, who?
Kendre Miller, Tyjae Spears, and
Kendre Miller,
Justice Hill.
Probably Tajay, Justice, and then Kendre. Tajay Spears got in the end zone last week, correct?
Yes, he did.
So that was pretty big. I didn't see much of that game. I was driving back. I was in the car, but to my understanding, like he just kind of looks good, and they trust him with the ball, so he has a pretty good role. I know Justice Hill scored, also fumbled. So the Ravens situation is just in the same place as it was last week, which sucks because it's just feel like it's going to be like that all season long.
Yeah, he did. Justice Hill caught 4 of his targets, four receptions, 13 yards, 7 carries, 32 yards, and a touchdown. So you saw a bump in production just from the receptions and a touchdown. But
yeah, like
probably
PPR, you get 3-4 catches. That's where his value is, but he never turns them into anything. So it's not like, I mean, none of these. Tajay Spears is the highest upside. Kendre Miller's upside is all based on an injury to Kamara, but like Tajay has an actual role and he's talented, whereas Justice Hill has a role, but he's not talented.
Yeah. Kendre Miller last week, 12 carries, 37 yards, 4 receptions on 4 targets for 53 yards. Kendre Miller.
Yep. Yeah.
And I think that I like what he's doing, but Jamal Williams will be back in a couple weeks, and Kendre will not be relevant.
Yep.
All right. Let's see what else we got here. Those are all the running backs that we're talking about here. Roschon Johnson. Let's just real quick, Kulz, I'm going to recap the running backs that we talked about, and you let me know where you're kind of most, interested in.
Roschon.
Okay, out of everybody that we just talked about, it's Roschon Johnson. Make sure you pick him up.
Yep.
All right, moving on.
But we didn't talk like Deonta Foreman, did we?
We mentioned Deontay Foreman. I did mention that this week he should be the lead back this week in against Minnesota in Chicago, and I think there's going to be value there. So if you need a spot start for this week, if you're hurting on bye week, and you don't.
It could be like a ton of value too. Like we saw what happened last year when he stepped in for CMC. You just never know. Like he could just absolutely go off. He's got that ability. Will he?
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, I agree.
Okay.
That being said, like Roschon, there's a chance that he still plays, and if he does, then Foreman's upside is completely capped, or it's at least touchdown dependent. Whereas like Roschon, without Roschon, you can see him get like 15, 20 carries.
And on top of that, too, if Roschon comes back, not this week, but the week after, plays really, really well for a couple weeks, and then Lil Herbert comes in, Roschon's role just expanded because of that production, I think. So there's a chance that you could pick up Roschon this week and have a viable starter for the rest of the season.
100%.
All right.
This is opportunity, at least.
Yes, opportunity, 100%. Some wide receivers that we need to talk about. Josh Downs for the Indianapolis Colts. He's been playing pretty well, and with Minshew Mania coming into the play, how do you feel about Josh Downs moving forward?
I honestly love him.
He looks really good out there.
Yeah, I've always kind of loved him. I just didn't love Anthony Richardson as his quarterback. So I think that passing attack should take a bump up. And he's great. Like he has great skills. So as like a side piece to Mr. Michael Pittman Jr., it's 2 great receivers. So that offense could be in a good spot, I think.
Well, yeah, I mean, you got a great combo with Jonathan Taylor and Zach Moss, and then you got Pittman and Downs. We'll see how they perform. But Downs last week, 6 receptions on 6 targets for 97 yards. His best day so far in the NFL.
Yep.
So I like Josh Downs. He'd be a waiver target for me.
Yeah.
He's rostered in 26% of leagues, so the majority of you guys out there listening, he's probably available.
Yeah, go get him. He's a stud.
Now, someone also to mention, I know we've talked about him previously. Josh Palmer is still only rostered in 61% of leagues. Just double check if he's out there. Grab him. He should not be on your waiver wire. Curtis Samuel, somebody that caused Kulz to have a very fun Thursday. Curtis Samuel's rostered.
I want to say about Palmer real quick. Sorry to cut you off.
Okay, no, go ahead. I thought it was notable to mention. It's 61% seems low to me.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see in that. I'm interested to see in that wide receiver room that if this bye week gave the Chargers the time they needed to get Quentin Johnston like coached up to get more of a role. So that's something worth keeping an eye on. Palmer, they do trust him. Was basically the main receiver last year or they tried to make him the main receiver for a good part. So, they trust he knows the playbook and that he just like can hold his own. So I wonder if now that you had a full week to prep QJ, if that role, if he gets a bump in his target share and his, snap count. So
yeah, I'm excited to see how this. I'm excited to see how this next week plays out. Quentin Johnston rostered in 54% of leagues, so half the leagues out there he's probably available. But those numbers should be bumped up. I mean, it's a Chargers wide receiver. You want to own them.
Curtis Samuel.
Yeah, how do you feel about Curtis Samuel?
I mean, it's just like one of those things where the Redskins love him. The Redskins are using a lot of receivers. So in order for him to have relevance, it's going to be like a very high scoring game for the Commanders. And I just don't know that that's going to be coming around too often. So
yeah, eight targets week 4, 7 targets last week. Had 6 receptions and 7 receptions and caught his first touchdown last week.
Yeah. So let's look at the Commanders schedule. That's the issue, is that you have to play Cowboys and
at Atlanta,
Falcons, and then at Giants, Eagles, Patriots, Seahawks, Giants. So that's a pretty good schedule coming up.
It's not bad.
But I don't know. There's so many mouths to feed there that you would probably be in a pretty like bad spot if you're starting them, just because you got Dotson, McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, Logan Thomas, Dynami Brown, and they gave someone else some targets last week. Pringle, maybe.
He spreads the ball around in that offense. So.
Yeah, and then you have Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson. I think Antonio Gibson had like 70+ receiving yards as well. So it's just
yes, 0 carries.
Just
Antonio Gibson is being used as a wide receiver. 0 carries last year.
Yeah, like we were super high on Dotson preseason.
Yeah, that hasn't.
And that's because we didn't think Curtis Samuel and Dynami Brown were going to be such big parts of the offense for good reason. But that's just how this offense is built. And Curtis Samuel has been someone that they have loved for so long. I mean, he was like going to be their guy for a while, but
yeah, I remember when that was all the hype. Not too
got injured, and like he was always so good. That's probably why they liked him. They saw like some really good plays out of him, but injuries will do that to a team.
Okay. Someone that's we can move on here. Someone that is rostered in less than 50% of leagues, Zay Jones is rostered in 43%. How do you feel about Zay Jones?
Did he just get hurt?
I'd have to double check on that.
I know he got hurt at some point. I didn't know what his let's see.
He's questionable.
Yeah, he came out of last game. I didn't know, what was moving forward. I don't really like Zay anymore. I mean, I never really did, to be honest, but Kirk's the guy, like we thought.
Zay Jones has only played 3 games, has a touchdown in 2 of them. So, but I agree with you. I think Ridley had a bounce back game last week, and Christian Kirk is still a beast, and the tight end is a monster too. So, a lot of mouths to feed. Very similar story. Huh?
Evan Ingram,
Evan Ingram.
Brenton Strange.
Yep. All right, moving on. Jaden Reed is still rostered in 39%. Do you have any interest in Jaden Reed? I'm losing interest in him as I watch this Packers offense week in and week out.
Yeah, I agree. I still like him more than Zay Jones, but probably Curtis Samuel. But the Packers offense has been brutal since Aaron Jones has been gone. That's not really fair to say, but he opens up that offense so much that his absence has kind of hurt.
100%. All right, the next wide receiver I want to talk about is someone we've talked about for multiple weeks now, and I can't believe he's only rostered in 53% of leagues. Josh Reynolds for the Detroit Lions. He continues to have great games, especially when Amon-Ra is not playing. How do you like Josh Reynolds moving forward?
I thought he was on every team already. What? So you're
He's only rostered in 54% of sleeper leagues. Let's see, where is he at on ESPN? 24% on ESPN.
Yeah, I mean, he's someone that Goff trusts. So
yeah, touchdown last week on 5 targets, 4 receptions, 76 yards.
Yeah,
he's a flex play for me moving forward.
Yep.
All right. Let's see who's next. Who do we want to talk about here? How about Rashee Rice? Kulz, I know on Sunday during the start sit, you were nice enough to chime in on the comment section, and you said one of the better stashes this week was Rashee Rice.
Yeah,
How do
I
you
like
feel
Rashee.
about? Yeah, were you interested in what you saw this past week? I think you caught a touchdown, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of what we've seen. It's like 5 targets, 4 catches, 33 yards, and a touchdown. So
yeah,
that's his 3rd game this season with over 10 points. He's got 2 touchdowns, week 1 and 5. I just think as this offense is starting to figure itself out, he's going to be one of the more trusted pieces. So that's what you're currently looking at, a touchdown dependent start. But as he learns the offense and, as this Chiefs team continues to get better, he could easily be like a league winner, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would imagine as the weeks progress, you're going to see more and more Rashee Rice. So
yeah,
definitely a pickup and stash for me right now. I don't know if I would start him, but as you see his role increase, don't be afraid to flex him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at that week 10 bye, and I could see him hitting the ground running for the last 3 weeks of the fantasy season, and then Mahomes will want him to be ready to just take off heading into the playoffs so that he can be a really trusted piece of that offense in the playoffs. That's just how the evolution of their offense and what he needs to see out of certain pieces going into the playoffs if he wants to be in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, definitely. All right, I think that about covers our wide receivers. Just to recap, Josh Downs, Josh Palmer, Josh Downs, Josh Palmer, Josh Downs, Josh Palmer, KJ Osborne, Quentin Johnston, Josh Reynolds, Rashee Rice. Who do you have at the top of that list?
It really just depends on what you need. I personally don't need someone like Josh Reynolds, whose upside is capped, but he's a good start right now. He could be a good depth piece if you don't have much. So it really depends on what you're looking for. If you need a depth piece that you can, trust starting the next couple of weeks while you have receivers on bye, then grab him. But if you're willing to wait on a QJ or a Rashee or I probably go Reynolds and Downs in the needing depth now that I can start, and then I would go QJ Rashi for high upside, like
potential
flyers. And the way that my teams are mostly built is that's what I would benefit from. So I already have both of those guys on my benches.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if I think we have a league that we have Garrett Wilson and Jamar Chase both on buys this week. So, a Josh Reynolds or a Downs would be a perfect guy for that team if we needed to start someone this week.
Yeah.
But that being said, I think I would have to look, but I think we have, a Zay Flowers, or we already have pieces on that team that. But anyways, yeah.
Well, that's a good segue to a point I wanted to make. Week 7 this year, week 7 bye is it's pretty insane, and you're probably going to be feeling the wrath of that on your teams. So get your depth pieces in line now, because the week after week 7, can you who's all on a bye week 7? It's insane.
Yeah, so we have Wilson, Chase. It looks like Dallas also is. Now with A-Chain out, we're going to need a flex. So yeah, we could benefit from someone like that to stash for week 7. Let's see who's available. Elijah Moore, KJ Osborne, Curtis Samuel. I don't see Josh Downs. It's a keeper league, so that's probably why.
Yeah.
But who else? Josh Reynolds. He's no way he's available. So yeah, I mean, this would be a team where we could probably look for like who can we start week 7? KJ Osborne is a perfect guy who has a higher ceiling. Curtis Samuel, maybe, depending on their.
Well, also with KJ Osborne, we have a week to kind of monitor that situation too. See how well how often he's used in that offense this week coming up to make us have a little bit more confidence in week 7. But I mean, we'll work this out later. Moving on to tight ends. There's a couple tight ends we need to bring up. One of them being Logan Thomas for the Commanders. Kulz, I know you love Logan Thomas, don't you? Yeah, yes, you do.
Yeah, he's a beast.
He had an insane stat line. Do you remember what it was last week? I'm pulling it up.
What the fuck? Oh no.
You okay?
Yeah. Why don't we? I'm trying to find our waiver position in this league.
Which league are you looking at?
Waiver order. There it is. So yeah, we're number 2 in that. Like, we're not going to burn a waiver on KJ, are we?
No, I don't want to burn a waiver on KJ.
Oh, me neither.
Last week Logan Thomas 11 targets, 9 receptions, 77 yards, and a touchdown.
Love it. If any of the BML league is listening, don't listen to what we're saying.
I don't even think they listen. But
yeah, no,
maybe Nick does. Maybe Brick is out there listening.
He's he's a waiver 1, so I'll text him tonight and tell him we're grabbing KJ. So,
all right.
Yeah,
well,
I love Logan. I think he's someone that I'm going to be looking for on those teams that I have Kincaid, where I can't really just sit around and wait for him to perform anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, he hasn't necessarily killed me at all, but he certainly hasn't been producing in what we thought he would be at this point. Will he work up to that? Yes, I think so, and I hope sooner than later. But Logan Thomas is someone he's awesome. Like,
yeah. No, he's definitely someone that I'd be looking at if I needed tight end help. Someone else too, Jonnu Smith. I know he is the tight end 2 next to Kyle Pitts on this Atlanta offense. But Jonnu Smith has quietly been pretty consistent these last 3 weeks. And he's someone I'd be interested in. I mean, there's a chance that people dropped Kyle Pitts. He could be on your waiver wire. I'm sure people got fed up and tired with him, but he had a decent week as well. I think that was with Desmond Ridder throwing for over 300 yards last week, which was interesting to see.
First time he put up 303.
Yeah. Yeah, very, very interesting. So those are the only 2 tight ends, in my opinion, that are worth a pickup if you absolutely need them. Logan Thomas and Jonnu Smith, both rostered in right around 20-25% of leagues. So they're out there. Let's bring up some streaming quarterbacks. If you have a quarterback on bye this week, do you have it up? Who's on a bye with this week? What teams? I'd be interested to find out.
Cleveland. Nope, that was last week.
The Packers
Green Bay
and
in Pittsburgh. Yeah.
There we go. Same time. Jinx. So Pittsburgh and the Packers, Jordan Love and Kenny Pickett probably aren't your starting quarterbacks in a 1-quarterback league, but in a super flex league. But I don't know. I was going to bring up quarterback streamers, but there's really no point with those guys. Well, Richardson being out, there's other quarterbacks that aren't playing. I like Matthew Stafford this week against Arizona. The Cardinals ranked 29th against quarterbacks, and Matthew Stafford's available. I think he's only rostered in like 30% of leagues. Stafford, we've been talking about week in and week out on this system, on this segment. So, and then also someone we just brought up, Desmond Ridder, finally had a really good game last week. He's playing Washington, and Washington ranks 30th among quarterbacks. So those 2 quarterbacks, I would take a chance on. How do you feel about that, Kulz?
Yeah, the one thing that we brought up about Stafford constantly was like he's scoring very consistently in average, but his yardage is there. It's just his passing touchdowns aren't there. All those were going to Kyron Williams, but as Kupp gets back and Puka becomes that 2 option, like he's going to start trusting that he can throw the ball in the end zone more. And we already saw that last week. I think he had his first game with 2 touchdowns. So, that's just going to increase, and the touchdowns are going to follow, which will inevitably shoot him up in the quarterback rankings.
Yeah, definitely. And then streaming defense for all you people out there that have defense in your leagues. I hate those leagues, but streaming defense, one I want to bring up is the Raiders taking on the Patriots. Patriots are trash. Mac Jones throws picks every single game. Likely to get some points there by the Raiders going against the Patriots. I like them this week. Other than that, Vikings against Chicago. I know Chicago's been putting up points. The Falcons against the Washington Commanders. Those 3 I think are notable and are hardly rostered in any leagues. Got anything to add there, Kulz?
I'm just looking up my normal sources to see what they say.
Okay. Normal sources. Let's go.
I like to outsource my defenses.
It's fair. No problem there.
I like to outsource as much as I can if it's trusted so that I don't beat myself up. Because I'll do that.
You take it personally?
Yeah, and then I get depressed and never stop thinking about it for weeks and lose hours of sleep over it.
Oh, stop. You'll be all right.
Chiefs should be available, right?
Yes, Chiefs are available. Who do they play this week?
They're at home against Denver.
Ooh, okay.
So yeah, I mean the teams that I've been riding as of recently is like Chiefs, Saints, Lions. Even the Falcons I would take a look at with the Commanders coming into town.
Yeah.
I think the Falcons they don't do much on defense. Like all they did was hold the Texans to 19 points or 18 points, whatever it was.
Yeah.
They didn't get any sacks or
Well,
any
they're
fumbles.
a good NFL. They're a good NFL defense, but they're just not a good fantasy defense.
Yeah, but like Howell turns the ball over, so like
yeah,
that is someone I would look at. The Saints have been great. They're at Houston. Lions are playing the Bucks. I think you're going to continue to see the Bucks like struggle against good teams because they're not one of them.
Yeah.
So I would look at the Lions if they're there. Yeah, I don't know. You usually don't have to go much lower than that. Jaguars play the Colts.
With Minshew Mania.
Looking for revenge after, or no, they won actually week 1, right?
They did, yes.
Won by 10, like 37-27. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so that about covers it for the waivers. I'm going to ask you a couple drop questions. Yep. Are you willing to drop these guys? They are rostered in more than 50% of leagues, so the majority of people have them rostered, and I feel like they're worth a conversation. Dalvin Cook, rostered in 71% of leagues. What are we doing with Dalvin Cook?
You could probably find someone better than him.
So you're willing to drop him?
Yeah, you could probably find someone better.
Okay. How about Tyler Algier, rostered in 60% of leagues?
I don't really pay attention to him because
he hasn't done much since week 1. He 17 carries last week, which is interesting, but only amounted to 40 yards. Scored 6 points on 17 touches.
Yeah, I just like if he's on the field, I typically turn the channel or my attention goes somewhere else. So
yeah. Now, if you do have Bijan, I guess he's an important cuff because if anything were to happen to Bijan, Algier would be pretty valuable. So that's the only reason I could see rostering him.
That's what I was gonna say.
Fair enough. Samaje Perine is rostered in 58% of leagues. We've now seen a couple of games, or just this past game, without Javonte Williams, and it didn't amount to much. 6 carries, 22 yards. He did, however, see 5 targets, 4 receptions for 73 yards. Samaje Perine, are you holding him? You dropping him? What are you doing?
I would hang tight. Unless, it just all depends who you're going to pick up. But yeah, I mean, I think until Javonte is like healthy and trusted, Perine's going to keep having a role. He hasn't done too much with it this year, but I don't know. That 5 targets and 74 yards receiving is why I've had him on teams and he's still on my benches.
Yeah, I feel that. And then a couple other ones. Gus Edwards, why even roster him anymore? He did have 15 carries in week 4, 12 carries in week 5, both for 48 yards, not being involved in the passing game. I would be dropping him if he is on my roster. No reason to roster him. And then Antonio Gibson, too. Antonio Gibson, I mean, he did see 6 targets last week, 4 receptions, 64 yards, 0 carries, not really running the ball. I mean, you're dropping him, right? He should be on the waiver wire.
Gibson?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's injury dependent at this point.
Yeah.
Unless they're trying to build off of his receiving last week. I mean, he's like still could be an effective piece of that offense. It's just they're force feeding Brian Robinson. So
I really thought Eric Bieniemy was going to figure out a way to utilize him a little bit more. So I'm still holding out hope that happens, but I'll be watching that from the waiver wire, and I don't think I'd be picking him up. I'd be dropping him if I have him. All right, I think that about does it for wide receivers. There's really not much to talk. Odell Beckham, you can drop him. Let's see who else. Brandon Cooks. I mean, do you see anything getting better for Brandon Cooks in the Dallas Cowboys?
Nope.
Yeah, drop him if you have him. Jackson Smith and Jigba. I know people drafted him because he was a hot rookie. What are we doing with him? 2.8 in week 1, 5.9 week 2, 1.5 week 3, 2 points in week 4. He's coming off of a bye week. They're facing at Cincinnati. I mean, is he even worth a roster spot at this point?
I didn't even. I never really considered him besides in keeper leagues. So, if it's not a keeper league, then you could probably find someone better. But like Josh Downs, if he's out there. But if it's I don't know. I'm still hopeful. Like he's extremely talented, and I'm still hopeful that he shows a lot like promise at some point this year. But
yeah, I'd be willing to drop him. To me,
I mean,
right now.
Yeah, I only have him in 2 leagues, and they're both keeper. Or really only one.
Yeah,
the other one's a guillotine league, which doesn't really count.
Now, how about Tutu Atwell? I know everyone picked him up earlier in the season. He was playing really well. Now Cooper Kupp is back, and it seems like the Cooper and Puka show. Do you think Tutu? He did catch a touchdown last week, but he had 5 targets, 2 receptions for 9 yards. Do you think he's worth a roster spot still? Are you holding out to see how his role develops?
I don't know. I mean, like he's gonna be a boom bust type player. So
yeah, if you have a deep bench, I'd hold on to him to see what happens. But I'd be willing to drop him for one of those players we talked about earlier for pick him up.
He's just like a way better version of what Van Jefferson used to be in the offense, which was he would catch deep balls at times whenever Stafford needed to stretch the field to let Cooper and Puka eat in the middle of the field. Then he'll keep him honest with Tutu, and Tutu is a way better, quicker, bigger playmaker than Jefferson. That's why they moved him today, you know?
Yeah. Sky Moore is still rostered in 50% of leagues.
How do you feel about Van Jefferson being the same value as Clay?
You would bring this up.
Claypool.
Yes. So what Mike is referring to, Van Jefferson just got traded today from the Rams to the Falcons, and it was traded for a pick swap. Was it the same rounds as the Bears
6 and
did?
7.
6 and 7. So the pick swap was 6 and 7. It's the same value that Chase Claypool was just price tagged with after the Bears spent a 32nd overall pick on him just a year ago, and it makes me sick. It makes me sick as a Bears fan. Terrible decision, and it turned out horrible. But you win some, you lose some, and you got to move on. And I'm just glad that Claypool's out of the building. And I thought Van Jefferson was good in his limited role last year, and I had hopes for him this year, but that didn't pan out. So kind of irrelevant now on the Falcons.
He got cucked by Puka.
Yeah, Puka came in and showed him who's boss.
He cucked him.
Yeah. All right. Well, Kulz, you got anything else? I feel like we covered the majority of the wire.
Oh, I do have something else.
Yes. Well, what do you got?
I do have something else. This is something that is very important too.
Okay, let's hear it.
So I am officially ready to admit that I was wrong about Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is an awesome quarterback.
Let's go.
Brock Purdy basically pitched a perfect game against what was thought of as the best defense in the NFL. He made them look horrible. He looked outstanding. He was making throws and putting them right on the money. Like his accuracy is insane. So what Brock Purdy is he is a outstanding system quarterback. He has an incredible work ethic. He has incredible leadership skills. He makes incredible decisions. So he is a perfect quarterback for an offense that he just needs to get the ball to skill players and make plays and make the right decisions. And that's what he is. So Brock Purdy is an elite quarterback in the NFL.
I can't believe what I'm hearing. I can't
Yeah,
believe what
I
I'm
mean,
hearing. I was curious, Cole,
so
because I know in previous weeks, as we saw Brock Purdy play well, there was always a caveat to your analysis on him, and I don't have much to say there because there were times where I agree with you in your analysis on the caveats and stuff, but from what we saw this past week in Dallas, he's magic on the field. The guy's really, really good. And,
yeah. So yeah,
I'm glad to hear this from you.
So like, basically, like how I heard it was that he has had that level and that work ethic and that focus of being a quarterback and that commitment to being a quarterback at every single level. And his pure skill has never wowed you. But when you've been around him and noticed his professionalism and his work ethic, that's what people buy into, which is extremely, it's extremely admirable, because anyone that's that focused and committed to something and just, I mean, he's doing everything right. Like, Tim Tebow, like how focused he was in college, what made him amazing was those same type of qualities. So that's what Brock Purdy is. And he is, I'm ready to admit, I don't want to die with that take. Like, I'm ready. Like, I see it. He's proven me wrong. I don't think I've been like rooting against him or like, that's what I truly thought. And, and I also am happy to
Getting choked up over there.
no, I'm happy to kind of like, what I think is relatively early in his career, jump on his bandwagon. I was wrong about him. I want to apologize to my friend Dylan Eagle. He's an Iowa State Cyclone. He's told me since day one that Brock Purdy is the real deal, and I just always like shook my head and was like, no, he's just not.
There was
for
all the roadies out there that were paying attention to this show early on. There are some interesting conversations that Kulz and I had about the whole Brock Purdy thing, and this is growth. This is growth right here. So, I love
Dylan, Dylan, and to all you Iowa State Cyclones, I apologize for not believing in your guy. I am on the Brock Purdy bandwagon. I want to see the 49ers win the Super Bowl this year. If it's not the Buffalo Bills, I will be cheering for the 49ers.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say that I think the 49ers, I might put money on them winning the Super Bowl. Like that's how dominant they look right now.
They're outstanding.
Literally. And they're the full package. So I can't wait to see. They have Cleveland this week, right? So talk about last week. Yeah, talk about last week, Brock Purdy facing his toughest matchup yet with the Cowboys, seeing how he did. Now he even has a tougher matchup because as of the last couple weeks, the Browns defense has been playing better than the Cowboys defense. So I can't wait to see how this looks at Cleveland with Myles Garrett in his grill. But I mean, from what we've seen, Purdy's going to overcome it,
Tune into Friday's episode and you'll find out.
Yeah. Well, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for paying attention. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at fantasy_trucker, at Kulz_sports. Follow the show at Fantasy Roadshow. Check out the Substack, thefantasyroadshow.substack.com. We go live every episode on YouTube at youtube.com/sportsethos. We have a wonderful episode coming up soon in a couple days with Shane O'Mac, our weekly red light, green light. Our love-hate starts sit.
It's the best.
It's something we've been doing very well at and very excited about it. Stay tuned for that. And then we do have a Thursday night live show coming up. And who's playing on Thursday? It's a little teaser. Is it the Broncos and the Chiefs?
Chiefs, yep.
Yeah. So I don't know. You guys might want to hang out with us because that might get ugly quick. So
yep.
We'll be live going over week 6 matchups and talking through the game, having some fun. And again, this episode is brought to you by Rule One Proteins. If you're looking for new supplements, some new protein shakes, make sure you go to rule1proteins.com and enter in code ROADIES40.
Pre-workout, creatine, plant-based proteins. They have this fruits and greens mix that I probably should have reviewed right now. It sounds like Petey's getting a phone call.
I'm in my hotel. My fuck.
We'll buckle up then.
Hello. Wonderful. Thank you so much. All right. Bye-bye.
Hot tub?
No hot tub, sadly.
We turned the hot tub on for you, Mr. Peterson.
Oh, that would have been phenomenal. I'd be running out of this room right now. I wish I had. Dude, there's not even complimentary breakfast. Okay. I want to rant real quick. Okay. I stay in a lot of hotels. I love hotels. I enjoy them. They're nice and clean. It's relaxing. First of all, the hot tub. I love a hot tub, and you can hardly find them these days. But to not have complimentary breakfast, not only is this hotel that I'm staying in right now not have complimentary breakfast, the hotel I stayed in on Monday night didn't have a complimentary breakfast. Like, what do we? And today they had it spread out as if it was a complimentary breakfast. It looked like one. I go to walk up to grab a banana. She goes, "Oh no, you have to. Do you want to look at the menu?" Like, why would I look at the menu? Grabbing a banana. She goes, "Oh, this isn't free." I just kind of laughed. I was like, "All right, have a good day. This is ridiculous." So I just wanted to rant. Yeah, I don't know, all you hotels out there. I hate you. Yeah. So, all right. All right. Let's not get political, Kulz. But we appreciate you listening, watching.
Nobody likes
attention.
Joe Biden, so that's
all right.
Political.
We appreciate you listening, watching, and paying attention. Tune in the rest of the week to the Fantasy Roadshow for more Joe Biden talk.
I mean, just true. Buckle up.
All right. Yeah, buckle up, everybody. You know what to do.